Indeed. So, let's kick this off. A major trade show like drupa for every company is like a key moment where you bring all these innovations to the market. But the real question is, how do we remain relevant for these customers? What's the process at Esko? I think it's very good to zoom a little bit deeper into that. What's the real process at Esko in which we look deep into the requirements of our customers? How do we do that?
Well, I would say Esko has always had a pretty close customer focus. So if I think about things like Esko World, we typically once a year get together almost 1,000 users of Esko products, and we're really involving them heavily into the development process. I think what's different this time is that we have expanded heavily from that customer focus, talking mainly to our user, talking mainly to the owners of a printer converter. We call the Industry Advisory Board, where we get many of our larger brand owners together, which is a great platform to actually collect insight, collect their needs and understand their requirements. And I think last not least, and that's for me personally possibly one of the biggest changes here, what we have driven recently, that is the heavy focus on the user or the operator. So the people that really use our equipment. So we had something which we call UX DNA. That's a process that helps us to get deep insight into how people use our equipment, what makes it easy to use, what makes it complicated to use. So we have been sitting there for days and following people doing plates, cutting equipment and so on, using our software. But the other piece what we did is we analyzed all incoming support calls. So users calling us and needing help to operate and do a job. So that is something which is relatively new to us, and our philosophy is somebody calling us and needs support means that an expensive piece of equipment or software is not producing money for this company. So that's not good. So what do we learn from that incoming calls? What do we learn from that insight to really take these customer needs and translate them into new innovations which we're going to introduce here in the next hour?
We're using the word customer in many different contexts and in many different ways. Is there a way for you to summarize what all the different appearances under that one word, customer?
Yeah, it's I would agree. It's one word for a bigger thing. So for us, customer, and that's I think one of the two things here, which are pretty important for us. Customer really goes across the whole packaging workflow. So that really starts with the brand owner, that then goes to the designer, that then goes to pre-media and the trade shop, and that finally goes to the printer converter. And really, in the end, covering the whole process from a first idea for a new product, a new package, a new sign, a new display, into finally having the product on shelf. And I think we move a little bit away from looking at these customers individually, but also looking at how do we simplify, how do we make it easier to collaborate between these different players, because we will come to some of the external drivers where we're going to figure out that life is not that easy and not that simple in such an ecosystem, how we call it. And therefore, for us, customer, it's really all the ways throughout the packaging value chain, how we call it.
Yeah, indeed, you made reference to these drivers for change. I guess in a lot of these interactions and a lot of these touch points that we have with customers, we learn a lot about what are the key challenges for them. Can you summarize those key drivers for change that our customers experience?
Yeah, I'm happy to do so, and happy to really get a little bit into these drivers for change. I think what we see, and let's have this as a starting point, better packaging, better signs, better displays help the packaging chain, help the brand owner to sell more products. So to me, always fascinating, if I take, for example, my favorite American cookie brand, how you can use 3 different products and provide more than 100 SKUs out of this. All different type of packaging, different sizes, different activities, different campaigns. So all these things definitely help brands to sell more products, to make their products more successful. And in the end, what it does, it leads to shorter and shorter print runs. It leads to more SKUs. We have an SKU proliferation. And it definitely leads to more complexity in the whole packaging process, And possibly the bad message for many of our customers here on the printer converter side, that complexity is not paid by anybody. In the past, you had possibly 10 jobs a day. Today, you have 50 jobs a day, and you're expected to do this at the same pricing point. So that is something where we clearly see that complexity is a big driver. Quality, nothing to say about this. I think compliance here with regulatory compliance, brand compliance, getting to the perfect quality is table stakes like eco-friendliness. Table stakes, but important because we can do a lot for this, set up time of a press, reduce the waste that is produced while set up and such things. Printing technology mix is for us a big driver. Many of our customers that have been in the analog world for a long time, they are now in a mixed world between analog and digital. That's not that easy because many of them separate their processes right at the beginning. That's not what you want if you want to utilize your printer converter operation in the right way. And last but not least, something we hear more and more often if we talk to our customers, that's a gap of finding enough skilled operators. So in the printing industry, I don't know why, but it doesn't seem to be the most sexy industry on earth, and it's hard to find the skilled operators. And these were key drivers that we basically have taken on board, and really they have influenced the type of innovation that we're introducing here from the Esko point of view to make sure that we understand the trends of the industry and that we provide meaningful answers to these trends.
Sounds like the growing complexity of the operations of our customers is the key challenge that we need to address, and we'll also be referring to the key theme in which we will go to drupa.
Absolutely. I think that, thanks for the reminder, brings me to the key theme which we're introducing here. So for us, that managing that whole complexity and everything here, that brought us to the theme for drupa, which we call packaging simplified. So how do we really make this whole process across the entire value chain, across the entire process, much more easy, much more simple? How do we enable that complexity? How do we enable brands to sell their products more successful, but make that whole process for the complete ecosystem, for the complete value chain more simple?
Thank you for these statements. They provide us with quite a good background of where the challenges are and how we will relate the announcements which we will be making further throughout this press conference to these challenges. You will hear us refer very frequently to some of the things, most of the things that you've mentioned here, Udo. We'll continue here now with a couple of announcements related to software, a couple of announcements related to digital flexo plate making and digital cutting, and especially the also integration of these devices into the workflow will be key themes driving that simplification in this world which is ever continuing to grow in terms of complexity. And our commitment to the customer, what we will show at drupa, what we will prove at drupa, is essentially the reduction of the learning curve, simplicity, packaging simplified is our theme, and at the end of the day, enable our customers to make better packaging, and at the end of the day, sell more packaging. So thank you very much, Udo, for these opening statements. Packaging simplified as the main theme with which we go to drupa. I'd now like to call on two other colleagues of mine, Wim and Geert, to join me here on stage, because we will now start focusing on the software announcements that we have ready for you at drupa. Wim is the Director of Interactive Applications, managing both the product managers and the R&D teams for the development of all our interactive applications. And Geert de Proost is the Director of Software Engines. So welcome here on stage. At drupa, and I don't want to steal your thunder, but at drupa we're going to introduce and announce a major upgrade of all of the applications in our software portfolio. And we're going to bring them to the market. Well, you probably know the current name that we use to refer to our software products. They're put onto the market under the brand name Eskos Software Suite 14 at this moment in time. But we are now at drupa going to bring them to market under a new name, the Esko Software Platform. And the change of name, by all means, signals an important change, a fresh approach to a number of the challenges that we've already addressed before. Okay?
Yeah, that's correct. First and foremost, the entire platform is actually moving from a traditional environment to more of an environment where people get a choice on how to interact with Eskos software, how to interact with their customers. Web Center, for instance, is one of the applications. Our product lifecycle management solution is one of the applications which effectively we have been hosted in the cloud for some time. And of course, this is definitely a trend we're going to move forward with towards Drupa and beyond. And I just want to highlight two examples of that. One example is related to our palletization software, the Cape Pack software, where at Drupa we will be offering also a cloud service to that installed base, which will allow them to upload complete palletization solutions to the cloud, where they can create a report with live graphics and 3D graphics, and basically share that report with their stakeholders and people that they work with. So that makes it easy for them to connect to their clients and to add on to the solutions they already have for some time on their floor. Okay. The other announcement I'd like to make, and I certainly think this is very much an innovation and a very good example of how we make things simpler, is an approval service, a shared approval service from within applications of choice. People today sit in Illustrator or in ArtSCAD if they do structural design, or they can sit in Studio or ArtPro, for instance. From Drupa onwards, we will be offering a training-free, so very easy-to-use service where people can initiate an approval cycle with the stakeholders from within their application of choice, where people can do annotations and approve, and then finally that same user will get the information back and will get the annotations right into the interface of their editor, so they are pointed directly to the areas of annotations. So that actually means that it's not only easier to initiate an approval service, it actually makes it substantially faster also.
Yeah, great. A very exciting announcement of the deployment of our Web Center technology as a service. That's indeed one of the exciting announcements, I would say. Mentioning Web Center and linking back to one of the challenges that we've talked about earlier, the difficulty that customers of Esko have to find skilled operators. I guess that a lot of R&D time went into the simplification of the user experience of Web Center.
Yeah, a lot of R&D time is effectively the case. We took the voice of customer on board and took it to heart, and we effectively completely redesigned Web Center into a very intuitive, very responsive web application where people can configure it very easily to their needs. And of course, we were using the latest web technologies for us to be able to do that. A couple of highlights here. One is actually related to the approval service we just mentioned. We have simplified the viewer to the extent where you really do not need any training whatsoever. Is one example. The other example is also related to the same web technologies that we've used, is the way the browser experience. And this is the old browser experience you're seeing on the screen right now. With 16, the browsing experience will look a little bit like this, and that's only on one particular device. However, we all work with tablets all the time, we work with phones all the time. The real estate that you have available to you can be very limited. And then it's important that that same intuitive, easy user experience is actually applicable to any device that you might use. And that's effectively what you see. It automatically reconfigures to the real estate you have available to you, so you can be very efficient in doing the tasks that are attributed to you at any point in time. So you can be at an airport and be just as efficient as on your desk.
Yeah, great. I think this is a great example of packaging simplified.
Yeah, again, we're trying to limit the time people spend.
Right, exactly. The other change driver we talked about a moment ago in the introduction here was related to the explosive growth of the number of products brand owners bring to market, hence the explosive growth of jobs that need to go through a production workflow of our customers. I guess that the need for more automation is bigger than ever before, right?
That's right, indeed. We asked a number of brand owners what actually their main challenges are in artwork creation today. And it turns out that about 58% of the errors that occur in artwork creation have to do with the text that appears on the packaging, often translated in many languages. So we drilled a little bit deeper to figure out why are these issues there, what are the key reasons. And there's basically three things today there's a lack of a standard process and a standard way to communicate content. Secondly, there's often lack of ownership. Who owns the last content? It's often the most recent version of the artwork that has the most recent content. And thirdly, there's all these copy and paste errors because artwork operators have to copy and paste all the content from documents into the right locations into the artwork and struggle to keep common elements in sync across all these product variants. So for drupa we will launch a solution that actually addresses all of these key challenges. And you see it here. It consists of 3 elements basically. On the left hand side we have a new content management module in Web Center. It holds a single source of the truth, a database of text statements, and also a process to manage those text statements. What I mean by that is approval, translations, and so forth. Yeah. And then second important aspect is a global standard to communicate. So there is a way to export content from this Web Center database in a GS1 format. That's a global standard managed by a standards organization. And then last but not least, what you see on the right here are tools in Illustrator called dynamic content that allow artwork studios to automatically get the content from the Web Center database and inject it directly into their artwork without the need for copy and paste. And this solution overall will actually reduce the time it takes to do this process by 50% and the cost by 30%, but while at the same time reducing the risk for errors and claims potentially.
Okay. We referred a couple of times already to design as one of the steps in the process. This clearly also interacts with design. But we have a dedicated inspiration zone for packaging design on our booth. What exactly are the most exciting announcements and innovations in the design space?
Let me summarize that, yeah, indeed. So let me start with structural design. Version 16 of our structural design program, Eskos Jan De Roek. What we did there is really simplify the whole workflow to design multi-component packaging and things like point of purchase displays. Let me show you a short video of how the new display design workflow works in Eskos Jan De Roek. So what you will see here is a single design canvas that allows me to design all the multiple parts of my display, seeing them all in a single space. Now I convert this display to 3D to continue my design work. There's a new tool here that allows me to apply components from a library to the display. In this case, I'm applying a hook that will hold these 2 boxes in place. There's a new array placement tool taking guesswork out of the process, so I can position these hooks very accurately and then take the 2 boxes and Eskos Jan De Roek automatically positions them on the hooks for me.
Simplification again.
Simplification indeed. And what you see there also is the mounting holes for these hooks have automatically been added to my drawings as well. Next, I have to prepare it for production by laying out the different parts on sheets. Also, Eskos Jan De Roek here helps me by using an intelligent layout algorithm to nest all these parts for me. Yeah. Then all I need to do is like print the sheets, cut them, and assemble the display. I believe that display design has never been this easy. To continue about the design applications, another thing is, what if you don't have the skills to design? Right? Then how do you design such a display? So what we will also do as part of the software platform, we will also release an online library with hundreds of parametric standards for you to just download and use in Eskos Jan De Roek. That's another way to do design. Okay, moving on to Studio. So Studio is our range of products for 3D design. And what we did there is to actually move those even closer into the Adobe Illustrator workflow. And what that means, for example, is that designers can now more easily compose scenes of multiple components together. There's new tools for that. The result, they can then export to really high resolution pack shots, including realistic lighting effects and also shadows, for example.
Multiple components like putting a bag in a tray or a display.
Exactly, as you see on the left here. What is also something we worked on a lot is make it much easier with the software platform to share these 3D designs with all the stakeholders that need to see them. Okay. And I have here a short video. I actually uploaded my designs to a Web Center project. And
Any stakeholder that is invited to this project can just browse these designs and see them in 3D. We have a new super fast 3D viewer that is using the latest 3D web technologies, making it compatible with all popular browsers. All you need to do this is really a standard web browser.
Full visualization of all finishing, like
right.
foiling and so on. And
exactly.
transparency
So
in the browser.
all the materials, transparency, they are all accurately visualized in a standard web browser. Even holographic effects, as you can see here. The interesting thing is that this doesn't only work on a web browser, it also works if you're on the road on a mobile device, being compatible with all 3D capable devices. Last but not least, what I want to show you is that we have integrated our store visualization product. So that's a product that enables you to design products in a virtual store and build out a virtual store environment. We have integrated that with planogram systems. Let me just show you that quickly here. This is how a store typically looks in such a planogram system, a 2D flat set of images basically. Now jumping into Store Visualizer and navigating in an interactive way, I'm searching for an empty space here in the supermarket, and I'm loading a planogram file. This file contains data on all the shelves and products, and it's building out a complete 3D representation of that, which I can just put into my store with a single click of a button. This kind of work would have taken me hours if I had to arrange all this data manually.
If not days.
Exactly. What you can also see is that all the metadata on the product is also imported. So this makes it an excellent tool to actually do store planning and category management as well.
All right.
So yeah, this is just a short overview of the new tools in our design space.
Yeah, this last one was really exciting because it really fits very nicely in that design space, plus also it fits perfectly in that faster time to market space where you can easily compare your product next to competition in the store, completely virtual, even before you started producing the first physical mock-up. So that is really, that's really cool. Moving a little bit further on our walking path through our booth, we've just been very excited about all the innovations in the design inspiration zone. We move a little bit forward to the artwork and pre-press, artwork and repro inspiration zone, where I would say that Esko software platform is absolutely also the platform to prepare designs for production. What solutions do we have there, Ben?
Yeah. Let me show you here on this slide. So we basically have two different solutions to prepare a graphics design for print. On the left hand, you here have Despack. What is Despack? It's a family of plugins for Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop. It allows operators to prepare a design for print using their familiar Adobe environment. Also working in the native format of these applications, so natively on Illustrator. And on Drupa, we will also introduce a next generation prepress editor called ArtPro Plus. ArtPro Plus is kind of the natural successor to Package and ArtPro. It will be available as a product upgrade to our entire installed base of customers with a care plan. And it's built from the ground up. Basically, it's using 64-bit technology and working natively on PDF files, which is basically the language of print. Right. So instead of just talking about it, let me show you a quick demo of ArtPro Plus in action here. What you see immediately is that it introduces a highly intuitive and new user interface with a circular click wheel. The tools are always with me on the screen wherever I go, and it works like a compass. Just moving in a direction picks a tool here. Another thing you see in this density readout is that things appear where they need to appear and when I want them to appear. So this in-context approach leads to less clutter on the screen, improving the productivity and job turnaround here. We've been spending time with the R&D teams actually looking over the shoulders of professional prepress operators to see how we can make this experience more productive. How can we make this new editor more productive? But not only is it more productive for operators, it's also easier to learn. And based on experience with our beta testers, we see that it actually takes less than 30% less to learn this application, to learn how to use it effectively.
Yeah, especially the cursor wheel that works like a compass will be a key driver there for simplicity.
Exactly.
It's like
it frees up a lot of space on your screen.
Yep. It's like kids know almost naturally how to work with an iPad or with the click and drag interface of an iPad. We're strongly convinced that this cursor wheel will actually be kind of the same experience for operators. You don't need days of training before you get used to that user interface. So again, an example of how we want to make that theme of packaging simplified actually come to life, not only at the show, but really in our products. The other theme, which is absolutely crucial in the packaging world, is quality. Quality and many appearances of quality. And with that explosion of jobs going through these production shops, I guess that also quality is subject for a lot of automation and innovation here.
Could agree more, Jan. It's definitely a pain point for all of our customers. More jobs, they all need to be quality controlled, but the amount of time you spend per job for quality controlling remains the same, so there's an issue there. If you add to that the fact that tolerance for errors is going lower and lower, close to zero, then effectively something needs to be done. And what we're announcing is 2 ways of completely automating quality control. And one aspect of it is enhancing or leveraging our colleagues from Infocus's pit stop product to not only pre-fly it for commercial purposes and for general purposes, but actually check over and above that for packaging specific items, so that these items can be captured up front and can be corrected or can become part of a report. You know, things like the shape, taking the shape into account, taking the barcode into account, taking the spot color information into account. All the things that are very specific to packaging can now be searched on and can be part of a pre-flight. The other area is to really fundamentally automate the process of quality controlling a job. So text inspection, artwork inspection, spelling checks, barcode inspection, both quality and number of the barcodes, braille inspection. And having that process automated, at the end of it, you generate a report which is then can be opened in, across the software platform, whether you're in ArtPro or whether you're in an automation engine in Web Center. So the report is available and will point the user into the direction of the areas of concern, so that the amount of time the person spent quality controlling is reduced. First indications give us a range of between 40 and 6% reduction in time spending doing the quality control with the same or better quality as an output. So that's effectively a way how our customers can look at a different way of operating and not having to add additional people to deal with this ever-increasing number of jobs.
No, perfect. Thank you, here. I would like you to zoom in as a last topic here in this software discussion on the next inspiration zone on the walking path, which is the printing experience zone, or the printing inspiration zone, where we have also interesting technology to learn.
Yeah. So the technology there is called Equinox. It's our solution for expanded gamut printing. Fact is, conventional presses more and more are standing still. Uptime of 40% is not an exception. And this is effectively, knowing the dynamics of runs getting shorter even, is effectively a big issue for all of our customers. Now, the technology of expanded gamut, it has not only become a lot easier to use and a lot faster to deploy. There is a couple of things that we've collected from our customers here, some numbers that you can gain from that technology. Up to 50%, 53% reduction in job changeover time. 25% of ink saving in flexible packaging, and up to 34% reduction in printed waste per job changeover. Now, this is a way of dealing with short runs efficiently. However, it's not just about the software. Equinox is really about the entire set of solutions. Very important here is that you guide the customer during the implementation, and not just through the training of the software, so guide them from end to end. And that's not something Esko in itself can do. We do have standard operating procedures for the Esko part, but we click them into standard operating procedures from our partner, X-Rite Pantone. And that's where you close the loop, because it's not just applying color towards the end and converting it into a fixed color palette. It's also about including the entire supply chain. How do you deal with designers? And I just quickly mention here that Pantone has released an expanded gamut guide. So on that side, there is some coverage from X-Rite and the guys from X-Rite can give you details later on. But also at the end of the process, the quality control is equally important. And that, together with Esko and X-Rite, that's how we close that loop and actually have a total solution which we guide the customer through from A to Z. And we will be showing that on our booth. The same table, you see the entire solution from A to Z being demonstrated between the two patterns.
So not just a pre-press solution, not a solution to increase just the efficiency of pre-press, but it's really a solution to grow the business, ultimately profitability of our customers. Great. These are only a couple of highlights, we believe at least the most important ones, of quite a wide range of innovations that we introduced in the software space. Again, I would like to extend my invitation to all of you to come and see us personally at our booth, do that walk through the different experience zones and actually experience those innovations yourself. Thank you so much, Wim and Geert, for your explanations. Thank you so much. The next chapter, we've covered the pre-press announcements at this point in time. And the next chapter we want to attack is dealing with our hardware announcements. And I, indeed, in the meantime, have Thomas Klein here with me, who is our VP of the hardware business. And Russell, thank you. Please join us here. Russell is our business development manager for the digital cutting space. We have a couple of really exciting announcements in the digital flexo plate making space. Thomas?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, it's
Yes, indeed, we have. So, thank you. So let's just look a little bit back. So our mission always was to make flexo plate making as consistent as possible, as simple as possible, as productive as possible, and all of this with the best possible quality we can achieve. So back in 2008, Esko was a pioneer in introducing the UV diode LED technology to main expose flexo plates. And we also have set the print quality standards with our HD and full HD flexo products. That's better. So what we did now is taking all our many years of experience together and move everything to the next level by introducing a new UV exposure technology. So I'm proud to introduce the new Esko XPS Crystal 5080. So that is a standalone UV exposure device which is using a new type of UV LED technology which simultaneously main exposes and back exposes a flexo plate. So our research has shown that this simultaneously and optimally controlled UV exposure based on UV diodes is really the key to utmost consistency of flexo plate making. So this device, as I said, is a separate device of plate format up to 5080. It is using simultaneously UV main and UV back exposure with UV diodes. It's very easy to use and also cuts down a lot of manual steps in the plate room.
Yeah, so this looks like a perfect add-on product to sell into the installed base of CDI customers. Any other announcements?
Yes, sure, yeah. So that is a product for our installed base, but we also have a new CDI device on the stage. So that is the Esko CDI Crystal 5080. Well, that is a new CDI platform that is making use of the proven CDI imaging optics and high resolution optics, but it combines it with a new very modern design that is really made for much better usability, user experience, and ergonomics. So that is not all of it. This CDI Crystal platform is made for automation. So you can connect the XPS UV exposure to the CDI Crystal to become a fully integrated and automated system. Well, that is the third product that I want to announce to you today. That is the Esko CDI Crystal 5080 XPS, how we name it. So as you see it here, both units are connected. You can connect them in the same way as you connect two Lego bricks to each other, and then they play together. We have a short video demonstrating of how this works. So, now I have this place. So you see it is a completely new design. It's a very lightweight design, floor space reduced, and also some benefits. For example, you see the glass plates as a plate loading table. These plates, glass plates, can be illuminated and serve for quality inspection of the plate. So there's no need anymore to manually move it to another device. So here you see how it works. The operator places a plate. The CDI automatically introduces, image it. You see a new user interface, very easy to use, very intuitive. The plate is moved out of the CDI, and the automation part is picking up the plate, moving it to the XPS device, and now the simultaneously UV main and back exposure are starting at the same time. And now the CDI can, of course, already image the next plate, so you have the full productivity of the entire solution. Well, so as I said, this CDI Crystal 5080 XPS is the first device that is really completely integrating and automating the imaging and both UV exposure steps. So at the end, this device is outputting a plate that is ready to go into a plate processor. So the benefits we have here is, for example, we have figured out 50% less operator training required. We have 73% less operator time required for plate handling, and the manual plate handling steps are cut down by 50%. So let's say this device is taking the voodoo out of plate making. This is plate making simplified.
Simplified, indeed, yeah. It ticks many, many boxes of these challenges of the market that we talked about before. We also have done quite a lot of work in integrating the devices with the workflow, Thomas.
Right, and yes, we are not yet over. There is also a fourth thing that we want to announce now. So for the first time ever, our hardware devices for plate making become fully integrated into the Esko workflow solution. So we have a new model to automation engine called the Automation Engine Device View, which is really able to talk to the CDI Crystal, to the CDI Spark, but also to the Crystal XPS in such a way that Automation Engine knows all about the status of the devices, about the job queue, and that gives the prepress operator the full control over the plate making operation. So the prepress operator can control the job queue. The prepress operator can, for example, give an urgent job priority, and it automatically runs through the process faster. It can also be automatically distributed to multiple devices if needed. Also, those things like the plate impositioning is moving upstream. And not only that, each job is carrying his metadata together through the whole process, so that completely eliminates the need of anybody in the plate room to enter any data, operate any switch, make any decision. It just runs through automatically. And this is really reducing errors and waste in the plate making operation. So let's say all of this, what I've presented to you in the last couple of minutes, that is really moving plate making to a new age, which will start at drupa.
Absolutely, I'm equally as excited as you are, Thomas. This is probably one of our most exciting announcements here, which will indeed turn the Flexo plate room into a lean operation with all the announcements that you've made. So yeah, thank you very much for that. Let's move on and have a closer look at what's happening in the digital cutting space, Russell.
Okay, just before I introduce the new solution that we're working on, I just want to position what the digital finishing team's been working. So for Esko and the digital finishing team, it's really important to understand our customers in greater detail, understand their needs, but also understand their pain points. And from this, we can then really analyse where we can obviously increase the value, so increase obviously the added value, but also help reduce the non-added value time. So we do this in a number of approaches, but the two main ones is what we call a UX DNA that Udo touched on in his presentation. So this is really understanding the different personas within inside of our customers. How do they use our products? What do they like? What don't they like? What would they like to improve? So that's really important for us to understand that. And that could be a managing director, it could be an operator, or it could be a salesperson within inside of our customer. The other approach is also from what we call a VSM. So this is a value stream mapping. So this is order to cash within inside of our customer, and understanding all the different processes that the customer has to go through to actually get that product delivered to the customer. Again, we can analyse the inventory, we can analyse the different touch points, and then of course we can then work out where we can obviously add value and increase our offering to this market. So what we're bringing for drupa is a solution, a digital finishing solution which encompasses a lot of different new technology. So the first part is a new user interface on IPC. So IPC is the software that drives our digital finishing platforms. And you'll see here it's a new user experience. So it's a powerful piece of software, very clear and precise to use, but gives a lot of power back onto the operator that's using it. So in this instance, on the example on screen, you can see that we can queue our jobs, we can move our jobs around depending on delivery dates. All of the estimating time is delivered back through that user interface. Very concise, very clear, very precise user interface. So that's the first part. The second part is a brand new estimating module. Again, where can we start adding value? So we can send files and information down to IPC. We can analyse that using all of the knowledge that we've built up over many, many, many years, and we can accurately report back to a costing system for producing a quote, or more importantly, back into the production for making sure that the scheduling times are met, and of course that we're meeting the customer's delivery dates. So brand new estimating module, very, very, very powerful. We also have the device view. So we've got the new front end for IPC, we've got the estimating module. It's also very important for us to connect to all of our other platforms within inside of Esko. So obviously the device view allows us to do that in a very, very, very strong way. So once we can estimate the job, we can give that information back to our workflow technology, and it can start working out load balancing. It can decide whether it's going to start ganging on materials, depending on the time it's going to take to cut. So very important to be able to link our technology back into a pre-press workflow. Last but certainly not least, we have a brand new materials database that we'll be launching as part of the whole solution. So what this will deliver is, again, many, many, many years experience, and the material is obviously key when we're doing cutting. So we'll be able to feed information in terms of the material thickness. We'll be able to input information about the cut and how we actually work with that material. What that obviously benefits for the customer is it's a reduction in the actual setup, but also less operator knowledge is needed because all of that information was stored within inside of that database.
So yeah, thank you for that. It's obvious that for Esko, digital cutting, digital finishing is much more than just the actual operation on the table, on the finishing tables. Software is indeed now a big component of it. Integration in this lean environment is absolutely a big theme for us. But there are also announcements on the hardware side.
There are indeed, Jan, yeah. So we talked about the software approach as the solution, but we also have a number of hardware launches that we're bringing for drupa. So the first one is the automatic tool adjust. Again, this will work hand in hand with the software, the material database, the estimating. But the main thing here is it's very, very fast to be able to set up the job now. So it will work out the thickness and automatically set up for that. It will work out the angle, the lag, all of the complicated things that need to be set up inside of a digital finishing environment. This will automatically do it for the operator. Benefits, of course, is it's reducing the setup time and obviously increasing the overall efficiency of the equipment. So the next offering that we're bringing for drupa is a whole new platform of digital finishing tables. So we're simplifying our offering for two tables, but we're also bringing versatility, flexibility, and also a modular approach. So that's very important for making sure that we're obviously protecting the future investments of our customers, because our customers don't know where they're going to be in 2, 3, 4 years' time. So the first platform that we bring is the X. So this is very much focused on versatility and also flexibility, but also in a modular approach. So a customer can start in a light solution, and as their business grows over the years, they can also grow with the X platform depending on their needs. The second new platform that we'll launch is part of what we call the C. So this very much comes from the C platform that we've had in the market now, a very successful table. Comes in a multitude of different sizes, but again, it's all about performance. It's all about getting productivity through, linking in with all the software approach, increasing overall efficiency on our tables, There's new approaches with multi-zone production to make sure that the head's continually moving and cutting. There's new approaches in terms of material handling. So we have a new set of platforms, a new family, but also a whole new solution to bring to the market.
Great. Thank you for these announcements. That basically sums it up for the Esko chapter. I hope that by now you can actually see through all these detailed announcements and see a bigger picture of where Esko tries very hard to simplify the life of its customers. I hope you can see the link there also with a number of the external drivers that we talked about. Once more, thank you, Thomas and Russell. Stay on for a moment.